Good evening and welcome to the Pro-Am Formula Racing round 14 of the division sprints. Takes us to Interlagos, Sao Paulo, Brazil. So we are gearing to go for an 18-minute qualifying session, followed by an 18-lap race to conclude the action. Starting 15 minutes later than planned to make sure we've got a sufficient number of drivers involved. We've got currently 14, which is less than what we would normally have, but it is what it is. We have to make do with it for today. So there's been a number of reserves being called in for today. The likes of Isaac and James, or OHH JMX. Let's just say JMX, it just sounds more appealing. Although I think Isaac is the only Mercedes representative in that. Buzz Fox in the McLaren, also being called in. And we've got Sefi and Jummer, also in the Ferraris, being called in. We're starting to see some cars making their way out onto the racetrack. There is Chromad exiting the pit lane in the Aston Martin, and Destruction's been disqualified for blocking the pit lane, so he's not going to be setting a lap time. I don't know how on earth he's managed to do that. By the way, his session is already over before it even begun. There's Aaron in the Red Bull. This is a very short racetrack, is Interlagos. 4.3 kilometers, I think it is, the circuit length. No 15 corners, although some of them are kinks, particularly the exit of Young Cow. I think there's like 3 kinks on the braking zone. By the way, we'll go on board with Aaron, who takes us on a lap as he goes through the Retro Aposta. And then for the left-hander of Decided the Largo. Of course, this is where Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen had their almost collision, let's say. Thankfully, it wasn't a collision. So Aaron in the Red Bull. Braking for Beaker de Pato. Went all the way down to first gear through that, which is unexpected. Would have thought it would have just gone through there in either second or third gear. It's a 51.5 by sector 2. Using the outside curb. And then it's a run up to the start finish line. We expect pole position to be at the very minimum in the low 1 minute 8, although it could well be faster than that. Well, Aaron's over the line, so 1 minute 8.2. So he sets the benchmark for all the others to beat. Chromad goes second with 1 minute 8.7. There is King in the Alpine. He's having a tough season so far. He's been involved in a lot of collisions and spins and shenanigans. I think with a reduced field today, that could give him the confidence to actually salvage a good haul of points. King over the line, 1 minute 8.5, goes second out of the 3 drivers who have posted a lap time. And Gemma posted time on the medians, 1 minute 9.1 for him. Kilmore, who was second until Fletch displaced him. Fletch going second, only 9 thousandths of a second slower than his Red Bull teammate of Aaron. Isaac in the Mercedes, over the line he comes. 1 minute 8.4 for him. So far, only 0.3 of a second, or more than 0.3 of a second, separating Aaron at the top and King in 5th. Luke in the Alfa Romeo, 50.9 by sector 2. Looking very good to go to the top here. This could well be the first lap time in the 1 minute 7s. Past the pit entry. It's a 1 minute 7.4 for Luke. More than 0.7 faster than Aaron. So Jammer will be making his way back to the pit lane. There's lost faith in the AlphaTauri. You can see that there's an Alpine and the Mercedes just staying out of the way. Don't want to be stranded there for too long, because otherwise the game can decide to disqualify you from qualifying, which wouldn't be very good. And even if you had a lap time already clocked on the board, you would lose that time and end up at the back of the grid. Lost faith crosses over the line, goes 7th on the 1 minute 8.7. Rishi is next. He's on a 51.3 by sector 2. I think we'll expect him to be around about where Aaron and Fletch are. Even faster than that, 1 minute 7.8 for him. So far, it's first blood to Luke. Although Fletch is going quicker through sector 1 alone. And we'll look to see how he's getting on in the remainder of this lap. We want to be in the 50s by sector 2. Fletch isn't in that particular boundary. 0.3 up by sector 2 though. So it's looking good for him to displace his teammate. Can he get in front of Rishi as well? It does look as though he is going to achieve that. He'll want to take a shorter route to the line. And he goes to the front row with a 1 minute 7.8. That is 0.06 of a second faster than what Rishi had posted a few moments ago. Lost faith going for another lap. He's crossing over the line in the AlphaTauri. 1 minute 8.1 goes 4th. So that's a satisfying lap time for him. Fudge Cakes is on a fast lap in the Williams. His sector 1 time is a 16.9. That's a good start for him, actually. Bez Fox has also started a flying lap. He's yet to get a time on the board. And Fudge Cakes has got a Red Bull ahead of him that stays out of the way. Hopefully that didn't hinder Fudge Cakes too much as he filters through Beaker de Pato, which is the corner that Lewis Hamilton and Alex Albon came to blows 2 years ago. 51.6 by sector 2 for Fudge Cakes. One minute 8.2 for Fudge Cakes. Bez Fox has gone off track there. He exceeded track limits at some point during the lap. Stays out of the way of Chromad as well, who is not on a particularly quick lap. He's not taking the best line either, just carrying too much speed into Young Cow. Well, Chromad crosses over the line. It's not an improvement for him. Bez Fox going again in the McLaren. Rear wing open on Buzz Fox's car. 17 dead through sector 1. There is an Aston Martin ahead of him, that is Chromad, who is also on a flying lap. I don't know how he's getting on. He's exceeded track limits actually, so he'll be backing off on this lap. Hopefully won't hinder Buzz Fox as he makes his way through. So Buzz Fox using as much curve as possible without losing too much time. And this lap of his is not very quick. I think he'll go in front of Chromad, but he definitely won't go in front of King, I don't think. He crosses over the line now. It's near 1 minute 8.8, and in fact he's slower than Chromad. Isaac is on a lap. Kilmore is as well. And Luke is coming towards... Well, that's Luke actually. He's just going through Pinarino, I think it's called. And he's backed off on this lap actually and just stays out of the way of Isaac, who's coming through. And Isaac has exceeded track limits, so he backs out of the lap he's on, and that will also invalidate the next lap he's about to start. So Bez Fox is going to make his way back to the pits. King has backed off on his lap. Isaac going again in the Mercedes. Two tenths up by sector 1. So at the moment it's Luke that is fastest by nearly 4/10 of a second over Fletch. Kilmore third. Not too far off either. Aaron is on a fast lap. Fletch is about to start. Here's next flyer. Isaac going through sector 2 now. He's nearly a tenth up by that stage. Rear wing open. Isaac heading towards the line. He goes 8th. There was an improvement in lap time, but no change in position. And Aaron is coming around as well. He's going quicker than before. 3/10 up by sector 2. And this lap time of his puts him up to 4th place ahead of Rishi. So Aaron finding all the time that he can find. Here's Jammer on the soft compound. He's heading towards the line as well. Doesn't take the shorter route to the line though. So 1 minute 8.2 puts him 7th. And Fudge Cakes' lap time has been invalidated. Fletch improving in the Red Bull, but not good enough to go to provisional pole position. He's still a tenth shy of Fletch. Here is King in the Alpine, 7th fastest for him, displacing Jammer by 0.005 of a second. Seffi's backed off on this lap because he's invalidated it. And Fletch will be backing off. I think Aaron will go into the pits to get another set of tyres put on. Rishi just about keeping his car within the track limits. Just coming up to one of the Red Bulls exiting Ferradura. Now, what is he going to be like by the time he does get to the second sector, which is just before the left-hander of Youngcow? And Fudge Cakes has retired from the session, and King has also crashed out on circuit, so he's not going to be improving his lap time. And Rishi's down by 0.03 of a second through sector 2. I think it's going to be unlikely of him improving his lap time. He's ducking into the pits, so we'll go to Lost Faith next. 10 faster than before, goes 6th. And here's Seffi. Hasn't posted the lap time yet. Just looking to see who is out on circuit at the moment. Well, Kilmore is on a fast lap, so we'll go to him after Seffi. He will want to be in the sort of 50 range by sector 2, but I don't think he's going to be in that range, to be honest with you. It's a 51.1. And here's Seffi over the line, and he goes third fastest with 1 minute 7.5 for him. Chromad is on a lap as well. Kilmore goes second with 1 minute 7.5, so he was able to displace Fletch by 0.02 of a second. Chromad improving in the Aston Martin through sector 1. His line through Beacon de Pato wasn't great. Through sector 2, 51.5. This should be a lap that will put him into the low 1 minute 8. Takes the shorter route to the line, 1 minute 8.3. Did find a little bit of time in the last sector, only good enough for 11th though. Now Kilmore continuing on his way. He's not on a fast lap, neither is Luke. Chromad is not on a fast lap either. 2.5 minutes remaining, so one last chance for drivers to head back out on a final set of softs to go for pole position. And Gemma begins his flying lap. You can see one of the AlphaTauris making their way out of the pit lane. That'll be Lost Faith. (16.7) by sector 1 for Gemma. So far so good. The track is continuing to evolve by the second. Gemma on the pace throughout this one. Can he get into the sort of 50-second range by sector 2? It's going to be close. It's only a 51.2 by this stage, so I think Gemma is going to get into the 1 minute 7s, but not in the sort of realms of where Fletch and Sefi are. And I think it's just going to be behind. We may just get in front of Aaron and Rishi though. He only goes 7th with that, so improvement in time, but no improvement in position. And Luke is also, well, he's not going quicker than before, but he's only 15 thousandths of a second off by this stage from what he set before. This lap of his is not an improvement, so he stays less than a tenth ahead of Kilmore. Aaron is coming towards the line as well. Chromad is heading towards the line in the Aston Martin. Does not improve. Aaron does improve his lap time, but he stays 5th with that effort. Rishi's just begun a fast lap, so then the next driver on a fast lap will be Lost Faith. Is he finding enough time on this lap, I wonder? The answer to that question is yes. Nearly half a second up, 50.9. That is a good time, but he's thrown it all away, exceeding track limits at Young Cow. So Lost Faith will have to go again. I think that's his lap time over as well. Checker flag is out. So Lost Faith is not going to improve. Luke not on a fast lap. Best Fox, I don't think he's improving, to be honest with you, so we may as well come away from him. Fletch in the Red Bull. Can he snatch pole position away from Luke? No, he can't. But he is on the front row. Aaron's not improving, so we'll go to Rishi next, who ducks into the pits. Chromad is not improving either. So qualifying comes to an end with Luke on pole position for Alfa Romeo by more than half a tenth. Fletch alongside him with Kilmore and Sefi on row 2. And then we've got Aaron and Rishi on the 3rd row, followed by Gemma, Lost Faith, King and Fudge Cakes rounding out the top 10. If you have joined us, do make sure you like and subscribe and get involved in the live chat if you wish so. Good to hear all those who are from Australia or wherever it is around the world they are. Let me know how your day has been. So the session concludes with Luke on pole, ahead of Fletch alongside Kilmore will start third, ahead of Seffi. Then it's Aaron and Rishi on the third row. Jammer and Lost Faith make up row 4, and then it's King and Fudge Cakes rounding out the top 10, as I've already mentioned. Cromad and Isaac on row 6. Besfox was the last driver to have set a time. Distraction got disqualified from qualifying for blocking the pit exit. So the top 10 will all start on the soft compound. The rest can start on whatever tyre compound they like. But they must make a mandatory pit stop during the race. It's an 18-lap event. We'll be back in a moment for that. So we're almost ready to go for the formation. That we're just waiting for drivers to complete their race setups. You can only change a few things. Front downforce is one of them. All the top 10 starting on the soft compound. The remaining 4 drivers can start on whatever tyres they like for the first stint. So we'll run through who is starting on what. I am unaware of what the situation is in the championship. We've got 2 more races to go after Brazil. We'll go to Baku in a week's time, and then the last round of the season will be in Abu Dhabi the week after that. So the formation that begins with Luke on pole, with Fletch alongside, who will lead the field into turn 1, I wonder. So Cromad and Besfox are starting the mediums. Everyone else is starting on the softs. So Luke will be hoping to take victory. So Luke continuing round. Can he lead the field to victory? Fletch will be thinking more about the championship, although I don't know what the championship gap is, as the stones haven't been updated from what's happened in the last couple of races. I did commentate on Singapore, but there wasn't an update on the championship standings at that time, and I wasn't around for the Mexican race due to other commitments involving myself. And it looks like Destruction hasn't got off the grid, and he's been disqualified, which doesn't mean that he's disqualified from the session. He just won't continue going around on the formation lap. So Luke will be hoping that his start won't be too tardy. He's just slowing down to make sure he doesn't wait on the grid for too long. So the field make their way back onto the grid now. Can Luke convert his pole into the victory? Or will it be Fletch coming away with the spoils? Kilmore needs to have a very strong race here. So Luke on pole, Fletch alongside. And we'll just wait for the 5 red lights to come on and we'll be ready to go. Here we go then. The 5 red lights illuminate. It's lights out and away we go. Luke gets off to a very good start, as does Fletch. And I think Luke is going to lead into turn 1 more than a car length in front. So Luke is in front with Fletch in P2. Then we've got Seffi who gets in front of Kilmore at the start. So Kilmore dropped him back a position already. As the field comes towards the Retro Aposta for the first time, Luke is in front with Fletch in P2, followed by the Ferrari of Seffi and Kilmore next behind. Rishi and Lost Faith are in 5th and 6th. Aaron's dropped back as well in the Red Bull. Gemma, King and Isaac make up your top 10 positions as we speak. And the driver's coming towards Ferragira for the first time. Rishi closing in on Kilmore. The drivers have been warned about diving into turn 9, making a move. And so far, it seems to be a clean start from the drivers, which is good to see. So Luke leads. Fletch is in 2nd place. Seffi on a charge in 3rd position. Are we going to see? Oh, and Kilmore losing it coming out of Young Cow, and that's going to cost him a position to Rishi and to Lost Faith. So Kilmore losing 2 positions there thanks to their error. And now he's going to be vulnerable to the Ferrari of Jammer behind, who goes right round the outside, entering turn number 1, which is the centre S, and Jammer gets through. So Kilmore has lost another position. And King losing out to Isaac as well. So, well, say that. King is actually fighting back through the Curva de Sol. And now Seffi to the inside of Fletch into Desida de Lago. He's not got through yet, but they're still going side by side as they go up the hill towards Ferragira. Fletch accepts defeat on that occasion, otherwise those two would have most certainly have caused contact. Gemma getting back in, well, Gemma holding on to 6th ahead of Kilmore, and Aaron also thinking about a move for 7th place. No DRS for the first 2 laps of this. And Kilmore gets back through on Gemma for 6th position. They're going side by side through Magulio. And now Aaron closing in. Someone's gone off in sector 3. That's Fletch. Fletch has spun coming out of Young Cow. And he's following to the back of the field. Destruction's car looks like he's controlled by the AI. I don't know whether the player himself has actually got back into the session in time. Which is really annoying, to be honest with you. They shouldn't just leave their cars being controlled by the AI. I think that should be a rule in a lot of league racing. In a lot of leagues of which racing is happening. So Fletch falls to the back. And Luke continues to lead. Seffi is in 2nd. And we've got Rishi and Lost Faith in 3rd and 4th places. Now, I would expect pit stops to be around about laps 7 or 8 for the soft compound runners, and then for those on the mediums, be around lap 9 or 10, or maybe 11. But they've got to take that pit stop at some stage during the race. We're coming towards the end of lap 3. There's Lost Faith in 4th position. Is within DRS range to open the DRS and possibly have a go on Rishi. I don't think he's going to do it down the pit straight, although Rishi doesn't look like he's using his ERS. Lost Faith to the inside, so he backs out a bit, heading into the centre S. And he close in on the Retro Aposta. We've got Seffi using the DRS behind Luke. To the inside, is he through? Luke is fighting back. It's nice racing between those two, keeping it clean throughout. There's Aaron in 7th place, Isaac currently 9th. Fletcher's got a lot of work to do from where he is now. He may decide to make an early pit stop and try and complete an undercut on a lot of these guys. But so far it's not looking good for him, and most certainly not for his championship hopes. Now Seffi's almost running out of his ERS. Rear wing open. To the inside into turn 1. And Seffi takes the lead of the race, but for how long? Now Luke has got a lot more ERS still left in there. Losfade gets ahead of Rishi for a moment there. Rishi runs wide onto the curbs. And it looks like Luke is going to get back through on the Ferrari into the lead. So Seffi losing out. Aaron making a move on Jammer for what is 6th position. No problem through there. Isaac to the outside as well on the Alpine of King. Oh, King's in the wall. King's gone off into the wall, and surely that's damaged the car. He might just have got away with it. I think Chromad went for a spin there, or Buzzfox had gone for a spin. So Seffi behind Luke in the battle for the lead once more. You don't want to be too greedy with the ERS. He needs to be more frugal with it, because he's going to use the DRS anyway. And Seffi is through, but is he going to have enough defence on the Reto Aposta back straight? And Buzzfox has gone off the track at Young Cow, similar to how Fletch did it, and Seffi will most certainly have got a warning for track limits there. So there's Luke. As King comes into the pits to get a new front wing fitted on, and it looks like Isaac's also gone for a spin at the Centre S. So he's dropped back. So these two, Seffi and Luke, fighting for the lead. Lost Faith and Rishi in 3rd and 4th places. Kilmore keeping in touch with them. Fletch in 10th place, with Isaac in 11th. Buzzfox just getting in front of the AI-controlled destruction. King exits the pits in last position. He's out on fresher tyres now anyway. And Luke looking to have a go on Seffi. Then Kilmore in the pits for Alpine. Medium tyres will be going on for him. And Isaac decides the time is right to come in for tyres. And Luke is back into the lead again past Seffi. Jammer back ahead of Aaron as well. And it's Fletch in 9th place behind Chromad, although Fletcher's tyres are going to be falling away as we speak. Now will Fletch decide to go for it? And his right-hander is coming up too. Fudge Cakes with a time penalty for corner cutting. And he's gone off track there. And that allows Chromad and Fletch to go through. Oh, Seffi getting the power down too much there, coming out with Young Cow. To the outside goes Seffi, and he's back into the lead again. So it's a game of musical chairs at the moment between these two. At the front, as Rishi enters the pit lane for Aston Martin from 4th place. Medium tyres go on. Aaron also in for Red Bull. Kilmore, can he get in front of Rishi as he exits the pit lane now? I think Rishi's got too much an advantage at the moment, but we'll see. Yeah, he's too far ahead, is Rishi, I think. So Rishi rejoins in 8th place ahead of Kilmore. So Luke and Seffi heading through the kinks. after Yumko. Luke enters the pit lane at the end of lap 8. And Sefi continues on for another lap. Lost Faith is also in the pits for AlphaTauri. Now, Rishi needs to have a strong... Oh, that's Kilmore in the wall. He's hit the wall. His car's ghosted, thankfully. But that won't have done the rear wing any good with him spinning off there. Luke exits the pits. He will be ahead of Rishi, but what about Lost Faith? Because he's exiting the pit lane now. Rishi coming through the centre S. That was a glitch there. Not sure what was going on. That will be a glitch, so... And that's the front wing gone there from Lost Faith. I'm not sure what's happened there, so that's got to be a glitch, surely, hasn't it? Well, Bez Fox has also gone for a spin at the centre S. Just waited for Keane to go through before he rejoins. Kilmore in the pits for the second time. And he's rejoined in last position. And looks like Bez Fox has gone for another spin. Now he needs to make sure he keeps his driving standards intact. Because if he doesn't, he will be in trouble. So Sefi into the pit lane for Ferrari now. And Fletch also in for Red Bull. He gets the car slowed down in time. And Bez Fox cannot keep his car pointing the right way. So Cromad stays out because he started the race on the medium compound tyre. But we want to watch Sefi as he exits the pit lane now. There's Luke. And who's going to get in front here, I wonder? It's Sefi for now. Although Luke's tyres will be more up to temperature. He dives to the inside of Sefi to see the logo. And Sefi has exceeded track limits and he gets a time penalty. So that's a shame because we would have loved to have seen these two battling it out for victory. But this battle seems to have diluted now because of Seth picking up that track limits penalty. And Lost Faith back in the pits. So maybe it wasn't a glitch with that mistake he had exiting the pit lane. So that's a big, big shame because he was on for a podium. It's all thrown away from him now and he still cannot keep his car pointing in the right position as Bez Fox enters the pit lane for McLaren. Cromad also in, the race leader, or was the race leader. And there is Sefi into the lead on the road. Now Luke may decide to just wait behind here because he knows if he stays within 3 seconds of the Ferrari, he will be taking the victory here in Brazil. Aaron in 4th place now. He's made the most of the calamities of Lost Faith, Kilmore and Lost Faith. Well, Lost Faith, Kilmore, and there was one other driver which he was battling with. That was Kilmore, well, those two anyway, which he's got by. Anyhow, and it looks like Bez Fox is just staying out of the way of the leaders. It's been a race to forget for him. So Cromad rejoins in 7th position on soft compound tyres. He's going to have more grip in there than the leaders, so that could give him the advantage on the end of the race. So Luke behind Sefi in the battle for the lead. DRS opens on Luke's car. To the inside he goes into Decida de Largo. They make contact. That was a little bit marginal, that from Luke. Not sure if he really needed to run Sefi out that far out wide. But he's still into the lead on track anyway. There's Rishi running alone in 3rd place with Aaron going after him. Got 7 laps remaining, including the lap that we are on right now. So Luke looking very, very good for the victory. Sefi's got to hope that Luke picks up a penalty of his own. If that's to be the case, then we've definitely got a race on for the victory. DRS open on Sefi's car. Luke, I don't think will be able to defend this one. Seffi to the inside. He doesn't make his way through, but he decides to slot back in. As I think Kilmore's gone. Is it Kilmore's gone for another spin? No, it's King has gone for a spin, but it's rejoined. But Luke has lost the lead on track again to Seffi. He runs too far out wide, but looks at it. Luke may be able to get back through on the inside. Now this is interesting. Who's going to yield here into Ferragira? It's going to be Luke. I mean, to be honest, whilst these two are fighting, they're actually pulling away from Rishi. So Rishi's not really gaining on them at the moment. So Luke on course for the victory. As Fletch goes past Jammer now for 5th place. He did that at turn 9 actually. So Fletch able to make that move stick. He's back into 5th place. Next man ahead of him is his teammate Aaron. Oh, contact! Luke came far too close there to Seffi. Brakes far too late. And I don't know if he's picked up damage from that. I hope not. Well, he's got to hope not. Because that could compromise the handling of the car and could end up losing time to Seffi ahead. So we're on lap 14 out of 18. And Luke is dropping back now, actually, from Seffi. So perhaps that damage will have done it. He didn't need to do that either, did Luke? No, I just want to look on the right. Ah, there we go. Yeah, right-hand side of his front wing's damaged. So Luke has thrown the victory all away by himself, it has to be said. And I think he may decide to... will he come into the pits? Yeah, he's struggling horribly through the corners. So Seffi's on course for victory now. It's handed to him on a plate by Luke, who is going to come into the pits, and I think he's going to fall out to the podium places now as well. There's Cromad, about to make a move on Jammer, which will be for 5th place now. To the outside, decides not to go for it. He may get Jammer back on the Reto Aposta back straight. Rear wing open. Cromad to the inside. Still doesn't go for it. Jammer fighting back, but lets the Aston Martin through. Rishi now with a time penalty. So that's good news for Aaron, who's going after him. Luke rejoins in 9th place now in the Alfa Romeo. What could have been for him has just slipped away. He's only got himself to blame for that incident as well. Seffi was just braking to make the corner and Luke just came from too far back. He didn't even need to attempt to make that move because he didn't have a penalty to his name. So you have to say it was a rookie error by his standards. So 3 laps to go. Seffi can afford to just cruise to the line. Rishi in P2. And looking at the penalties each driver has got, now Berswart's got 8 seconds, but he's a lap down anyway on pretty much everyone else. Isaac and Fudgecake's just swapping positions at the moment as well. So at the moment you're looking at Seffi and then Rishi, Aaron, Fletch, Cromad, Jammer, Fudgecakes, Isaac, Luke, King, Lost Faith, Kilmore, Destruction and Besfart. So even with the penalties at the moment, nothing would change on the race results. Seffi has started the penultimate lap now in the Ferrari. So Isaac, as Luke posts a new fastest lap of the race, currently running in 9th, so he'll be able to get that point. I suppose he didn't go onto the soft compound, if I'm honest with you. That way he would have closed in more on Isaac ahead. Gets within 3 seconds of him, he would move up position, so that would move him off a place, but that would feel like a consolation for him. Kilmore into the pits for Alpine. I don't know whether this is to go on for the fastest lap, but I think he's made a bad error here because he's going to be lapped by the race leader, and that way he's not going to go for the he's not going to be able to get a chance to go for the fastest lap. So Kilmore, his race is ruined pretty much. So we're on the last lap now. Sefi just coming out to lap the AI-controlled Alfa Romeo of Destruction. And Luke is now within 3 seconds of Isaac, who is trying to get past Fudge Cake. So Luke is on course to move up a couple of places. So Sefi coming to Young Cow for the last time. Here in Brazil, entering the pit straight, Sefi will win the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in the division sprints in the PAFR. Sefi takes it. Brilliant drive from him. Thoroughly deserved, even with the penalty. Rishi coming through to finish second. A fine effort from him, most definitely as well from Aaron. Coming home to finish third. Fletch recovering well after that poor start. He's coming in 4th place. Cromad picking up his best result of the season, I believe, in 5th place. Gemma will be 6th. And Isaac and Fudgecakes will drop back behind Luke. I think Luke's run out of fuel, actually. But Luke will come home in 7th place, only just though. So Isaac 8th, Fudgecakes is 9th, King in 10th, Lost Faith will be 11th. Then we've got Destruction 12th, Kilmore 13th, Bestfalls 14th. Those 3 drivers are lapped down. But Sefi is your race winner here in Sao Paulo. The driver's now out onto the podium. Sefi with the winner's trophy. The champagne sprayed. After what has been a very quick... That went really, really quick, that, didn't it? I suppose we didn't have any virtual safety cars or safety cars in that one, which I think is the kind of race that all the drivers want. So your race results see Seth coming out on top with Rishi 2nd, Aaron 3rd ahead of Fletch, Cromad and Gemma on next behind in 5th and 6th, Luke 7th and getting the point for the fastest lap, Isaac 8th, Fudgecakes 9th and King picking up the last point in 10th. Lost Faith was 11th, no points for him unfortunately, Destruction 12th, Kilmore 13th and Bestfots the last of finishes in 14th. So 14 drivers started, 14 drivers finishing. We're going to do some interviews now, so bear with us one moment and we'll speak to some of our drivers after that brilliant race that saw quite a lot of overtaking, it has to be said. So just join the party and then we'll talk to some of those drivers right now. Yeah. Let's speak to our drivers then after that race in Brazil. Let's speak to... Who should we speak to today? We'll speak to Aaron first, why not? Because he's finished on the podium, what's been a superb performance, actually, from where he was on the grid, coming through the field, taking advantage of other drivers' melodies. How was that for you out there? Yeah. So a podium finish for you. I don't know how many podiums you've had this season, but it's at least a fair few. Yeah, it's at least a fair few. But I can look at that before the next race in Baku in a week's time. But I suppose Brazil, a good round. Definitely a driver's circuit, easy to get round. It's one of the sort of old school circuits out there. And then we've got more of the sort of newer circuits like Baku and Yas Marina coming up to close the season. How do you think it's going to be for this particular championship? Yeah. Well, very well done on your podium, Aaron. Look forward to seeing you next week in Baku. We'll go to your Red Bull teammate Fletch, who, after that spin at Youngkow, has come home to finish in a fine fourth position. It must have felt like a nightmare at the beginning when you had that spin, but you didn't give in and were able to complete the undercut on some of those drivers in the race to come home in the top four. I think that's the thing with I think that's the thing with these fast flowing circuits is when at the start you're on full tanks and you don't really know the sort of lines or the when to brake for these turns or how to get the power down. It's very easy to lose it when you get that level of wheel spin at a left-hander like Youngkow. But yeah, so going forward, what's the point, guys? Because I don't know what the gap is in the championship or where you are in the championship. I know you're at the top, but what's the sort of strategy going into these final two races? No problem. Well, nice job in recovering to fourth place there, Fletch. So we'll see you next week in Azerbaijan. We'll speak to one more driver. We'll speak to Luke, who was in the running for the victory in the closing stages, but contact with Sefi had cost him the opportunity. I don't know if you were aware that Sefi actually had a time penalty to his name, because I thought you would perhaps have just sat behind him in the remainder of the race, but you decided to, think otherwise and try and go for a move which perhaps maybe wasn't as necessary as you might have thought. Yeah. Well, I mean, hard luck. I mean, it was just, I suppose it's one of those things, but I think it's something to learn going forward, in the coming rounds in Azerbaijan, which you never know what can happen there. It was a fairly straightforward race, though, because we didn't see, any, huge incidents which caused, a virtual safety car or the safety car. So it felt like it went really, really quickly then out there, didn't it? Yeah, so it's P7 and the point for the fastest up as well, Luke. So at least you've come away with some points nevertheless. Thank you, folks, for taking the time to speak after that race in Brazil. And thank you also to those who've tuned in to watch that. Next week, we'll be racing in Azerbaijan in the Baku street circuit for the penultimate round of the division sprints. And it's also for me to say thank you very much for joining. Do make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and look to do it all over again this time next week. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Pro-Am Formula Racing returns.